Hey Switch fans, welcome back to SwitchTop. Today we're diving into the best arcade games you can play on your Nintendo Switch. These are the games that capture that classic arcade feeling, whether they're modern takes on the genre or actual arcade classics brought to the hybrid console. Let's count down the top 20. Slave Zero X is a high-speed hack-and-slash prequel that ditches the original game's mech combat for intense sword-based action. You play as Sho, fighting through a dystopian megacity ruled by oppressive biomechs, uncovering the events that led to the first game's rebellion. The combat system centers on fast combo chains using light and heavy attacks, with a parry mechanic that lets you deflect enemy strikes and counter with devastating blows. You've got an energy meter that builds as you fight, letting you unleash powerful special moves that can clear entire groups of enemies. The game throws relentless waves of foes at you across its levels, demanding quick reflexes and smart resource management. There's a scoring system that ranks your performance based on speed, style, and efficiency, encouraging you to replay levels for better grades. The pixel art style, mixed with smooth animations, creates a visually striking experience, while the pounding electronic soundtrack drives the frantic pace forward. G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra brings the classic beat-em-up formula to life, with the iconic toy line's characters and over-the-top action. The story follows the Joes as they battle Cobra's latest scheme to unleash a doomsday weapon, taking you through various locations from the franchise. You can choose from multiple Joes like Duke, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, and Roadblock, each with their own fighting styles and special abilities. The combat is straightforward arcade brawler stuff. Punch, kick, jump attacks, and character-specific special moves that consume an energy bar. You'll fight through hordes of Cobra troops, Vipers, and classic villains in side-scrolling levels filled with destructible environments. The game supports 4-player local co-op, which really captures that classic arcade cabinet experience. There are vehicle sections that break up the on-foot combat, letting you hop into tanks or helicopters for some explosive variety. The art style nails that Saturday morning cartoon vibe, with bright colors and exaggerated animations. SNK 40th Anniversary Collection packs 24 classic SNK arcade games from the early 80s into one convenient package, celebrating the company's pre-Neo Geo era. You're getting a mix of genres here: shooters like Alpha Mission and Vanguard, platformers like Athena, sports games, and even some obscure titles most people have never played. Each game is presented in its original arcade form, with optional screen filters and borders to recreate that CRT monitor look. The collection includes both Japanese and international versions of games where they differ, giving you multiple ways to experience these classics. You've got full button remapping, save states, and a rewind feature that lets you undo mistakes. Basically, quality of life features that make these challenging old games more accessible. There's a museum mode packed with concept art, advertisements, and historical information about SNK's early days. The emulation is solid across the board, maintaining the original frame rates and gameplay feel. It's a fascinating look at arcade gaming's evolution during a crucial period. Ray's Arcade Chronology bundles 3 legendary shoot-em-ups from the Rayforce series into one collection with enhanced features. You're getting Rayforce, Ray Storm, and Ray Crisis, each offering a different take on vertical and horizontal scrolling shooter action. Rayforce introduces the lock-on laser system, where you target enemies on a lower plane and unleash homing lasers, creating a unique strategic layer. Ray Storm continues this with full 3D graphics and branching paths that change based on your performance. Ray Crisis flips the script with a darker story about diving into a corrupted AI's mind, featuring some of the most intense bullet patterns in the series. All three games run at smooth 60 frames per second with pixel-perfect controls that are essential for dodging the intricate bullet patterns. The collection adds new features like training modes, replays, and enhanced visuals alongside the original arcade versions. There's also a gallery with artwork and a music player featuring the series' excellent electronic soundtracks. Each game grades your performance and tracks your scores. Gradius is the legendary side-scrolling shooter that basically defined the power-up system used in countless games that followed. You pilot the Vic Viper spacecraft through hostile alien territory, fighting to save the planet Gradius from the Bacterian army's invasion. The signature gameplay mechanic is the power-up bar. Destroying certain enemies drops capsules that move a selector across options like speed boost, missiles, lasers, options, floating pods that mirror your shots, and shields. You choose when to activate each power-up, creating a risk-reward system, where you might hold off on taking a useful upgrade to get something more powerful later. The levels scroll horizontally, with carefully designed enemy patterns and environmental hazards like narrow corridors and moving obstacles. Boss battles require learning attack patterns and exploiting weak points while dodging complex bullet spreads. The difficulty ramps up significantly as you progress, demanding precise movements and smart power-up management. Multiple weapon configurations let you customize your ship's loadout before starting. Sega Ages Out Run brings the arcade racing classic to Switch, with enhanced features while preserving what made the original special. You're a guy driving a Ferrari Testarossa with your girlfriend, racing across America through varied landscapes before time runs out. The gameplay is pure arcade driving. You accelerate, brake, and shift gears while navigating branching paths that lead to different endings. There are no opponents to beat, just the clock and the traffic you need to weave through at high speeds. The handling has that classic drift-heavy arcade feel, where you're constantly sliding around corners and narrowly avoiding crashes. This version adds new features like a 60 frames per second mode, extra songs, and a new time attack mode not in the original. You can also play the moving cabinet version that simulates the hydraulic arcade machine's tilting. Checkpoints extend your timer, and crashing costs precious seconds, creating constant tension. The sense of speed is incredible, especially in handheld mode, where the simplified graphics still look vibrant.
Checkpoint.
Agent Intercept is a modern arcade racer that captures the spirit of classic spy action movies with transforming vehicles and explosive set pieces. You're a secret agent driving the Scepter, a high-tech sports car that can transform into a boat or plane mid-mission, chasing down the villainous CLAW organization across exotic locations worldwide. The gameplay blends high-speed racing with on-rails shooting as you dodge obstacles, take out enemy vehicles, and collect gadgets. Your car constantly moves forward while you steer left and right, drift around corners, and hit ramps to go airborne. Transformations happen automatically when you hit water or launch off special ramps, seamlessly shifting from driving to boat racing or aerial combat. Each mission has specific objectives beyond just reaching the finish line: destroying target numbers of enemies, protecting allies, or surviving chase sequences. Power-ups scattered through levels give temporary abilities like shields, speed boosts, or enhanced weapons. The vibrant cel-shaded graphics and licensed soundtrack create an authentic 60s spy thriller atmosphere.
This isn't fun.
You have no idea what you truly face, Agent. But here's a parting shot.
He's vulnerable on that channel.
Mr. Driller DrillLand takes the addictive block drilling puzzle gameplay and wraps it in a theme park setting with 5 unique attractions. The story follows Mr. Driller and friends visiting the newly reopened DrillLand amusement park, where each attraction offers a different drilling challenge. The core mechanics have you drilling downward through colored blocks that fall based on physics. Same colored blocks touching in groups of 4 or more disappear. You've got an air supply that constantly depletes, requiring you to grab air capsules while drilling. But breaking blocks also uses air. Each of the 5 modes twists these basics in creative ways. World Drill Tour has you collecting metals while drilling. Star Driller puts you in space with different gravity. Drindy Adventure adds RPG elements with items and enemies. The Hole of Druaga is a dungeon crawler variation. And Horror Night House features a dark, haunted mansion where your vision is limited. The game supports 2-player competitive drilling. The Cowabunga collection packs 13 classic TMNT games spanning arcade, NES, SNES, and Genesis into one massive anthology. You're getting the legendary arcade brawlers, including Turtles in Time, the challenging NES platformers, the fighting game Tournament Fighters in all its versions, and some rare titles most people never played. Each game is emulated faithfully, with options to adjust difficulty, lives, and other settings that let you customize the experience. The arcade games support 4-player local co-op, finally letting you experience that cabinet chaos at home. Save states and rewind features are included across all games, making the notoriously difficult titles more approachable without losing their challenge. There's an extensive museum mode loaded with concept art, box art from different regions, instruction manuals, and even Saturday morning cartoon episode guides. Button remapping works across all titles, and you can apply visual filters or play in original aspect ratios. The collection preserves these games exactly as they were while adding modern conveniences. Online play is available for compatible titles. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection brings 7 essential tag team fighters to Switch, spanning from X-Men Children of the Atom through Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You're getting the complete evolution of Capcom's legendary crossover series, where Marvel superheroes battle Capcom's greatest characters in fast-paced 2 vs. 2 or 3 vs. 3 battles. The gameplay revolves around tag mechanics. You build a team and can switch characters mid-combo, call assists to extend combos or control space, and perform devastating hyper combos that unleash super moves. Each game in the collection refined these systems, with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 offering the deepest roster at 56 characters with infinitely deep combo potential. The games use Capcom's signature sprite-based graphics with fluid animations and spectacular special effects that still look gorgeous today. All 7 games feature training modes, online play with rollback netcode for smooth matches, and tournament mode for local competitions. There's a comprehensive gallery with artwork and design documents. The one-frame links and advanced techniques reward practice and skill. Capcom Fighting Collection bundles 10 classic fighting games from Capcom's legendary arcade history into one package. You're getting 5 Darkstalkers games, featuring monsters and supernatural creatures battling in gothic arenas, along with Red Earth, Cyberbots, and 3 Super Puzzle Fighter versions. The Darkstalkers games use a 6-button layout, with light, medium, and heavy punches and kicks, featuring chain combos where you can link different strength attacks together smoothly. Each character has unique special moves, executed through quarter circle and charge inputs, plus EX specials that consume meter for enhanced versions. Red Earth is a boss rush fighter with RPG elements, where your character levels up and gains new abilities between battles. The collection includes training modes for each game, where you can practice combos and setups, plus rollback netcode for smooth online matches. There's a museum packed with concept art, design documents, and promotional materials from each game's original release. Display options let you add scan lines and arcade cabinet borders or play in widescreen. Sega Mega Drive Classics packs over 50 Genesis games spanning multiple genres into one massive collection. You're getting legendary titles like Streets of Rage 2, Golden Axe, Phantasy Star 4, Shinobi 3, and Sonic the Hedgehog, alongside deeper cuts and hidden gems. The interface presents the games as cartridges in a virtual bedroom where you can customize the space with unlockable posters and decorations. Each game supports save states, rewind functions, and various display filters to recreate that old CRT TV look or play in crisp pixels. The emulation quality is solid across the board, maintaining original frame rates and responsive controls. There are challenge modes for certain games that set specific objectives, like beating a level without taking damage or reaching a score threshold within time limits. Mirror mode flips games horizontally for a fresh take on familiar levels. You can create custom playlists of your favorite games for quick access. Online leaderboards track high scores and completion times for competitive players. Wild Guns Reloaded is an enhanced version of the SNES cult classic that blends gallery shooter mechanics with Wild West settings. The story follows bounty hunters seeking revenge against a corrupt industrialist family in a steampunk frontier filled with robots and mechanical enemies. You control a character who can move left and right across the screen, while aiming a cursor independently to shoot at enemies and incoming fire. The key mechanic is dodging. You can roll to avoid bullets and lock your aim position while moving. Boss battles fill the screen with bullet patterns you need to weave through while targeting weak points. This version adds 4 playable characters beyond the original 2, each with different weapons and special abilities, like Doris's spread shot or Bullet's machine gun. The game supports 4-player local co-op, where the screen becomes absolute chaos with enemies, bullets, and explosions everywhere. There are multiple difficulty settings and an unlimited continues option for newcomers. The pixel art has been redrawn in higher resolution while keeping the original style. Contra. Operation Galuga reimagines the original Contra with modern design sensibilities while preserving that brutal run-and-gun gameplay the series is known for. The story expands on the 1987 mission where Commandos Bill Riser and Lance Bean battle the Red Falcon organization's alien invasion. You run through side-scrolling levels, blasting enemies with various weapons like the spread gun, laser, and flamethrower, each with distinct advantages against different enemy types. The game adds a dash move that lets you slide under attacks and through certain enemies, plus a parry system where timing your melee attack against projectiles reflects them back. 8 playable characters each have unique special weapons and abilities. Ariana uses drones for support fire, while Stanley wields heavy artillery. The story mode features cutscenes and dialogue that flesh out the characters between missions. There's a perk system where you equip passive abilities like extra health or faster movement that you can swap between levels. Multiple difficulty options range from casual friendly to the punishing one-hit death classic Contra experience.
Let's attack aggressively.
Mushihimesama is one of the most respected bullet hell shooters ever made, originally released in arcades by Cave in 2004. The story follows Reko, a young girl riding a giant beetle through a fantasy world consumed by a plague affecting the insect population, fighting massive biomechanical bugs. You pilot vertically through levels filled with intricate bullet patterns that demand absolute precision and route memorization. The shot types let you choose between widespread fire with slower movement or focused laser with faster speed, each fundamentally changing your approach. The scoring system rewards grazing bullets closely and collecting gems released by destroyed enemies before they disappear, creating risk-reward decisions constantly. There are multiple modes, including Original, Maniac, and Ultra, with escalating difficulty and bullet density. The hitbox on your character is tiny, just a single pixel, so threads between seemingly impossible bullet curtains exist if you have the skill. Practice mode lets you start from any unlocked stage to work on specific sections. The soundtrack by Manabu Namiki is incredible. Andro Dunos 2 is the sequel to a 1992 Neo Geo horizontal shooter that stayed obscure until this revival brought it back. You're piloting a spacecraft defending against an alien invasion across multiple planets and space stations. The unique hook is your weapon system. You have 4 different armaments mapped to face buttons that you can switch between instantly. Red is a forward-firing Vulcan cannon. Blue shoots homing missiles. Green is a ground-hugging laser that follows terrain. And yellow fires backward for enemies approaching from behind. Managing these weapons and knowing when to switch creates a strategic layer beyond just dodging and shooting. Each weapon has 3 power levels, gained by collecting items, and dying drops you down a level. The game features branching paths, where your performance determines which route you take through the campaign. There's a 2-player co-op mode, where coordination becomes crucial in later stages. The pixel art is gorgeous, with detailed spacecraft designs and elaborate backgrounds. Boss fights require learning patterns and using the right weapon for each phase. Pocky and Rocky Reshrined revives the cult classic top-down shooter series with hand-drawn visuals and refined gameplay. The story follows Shrine Maiden Pocky and her yokai friends as they investigate why peaceful yokai across Japan have suddenly turned violent. You move in 8 directions while shooting projectiles and using a sliding dodge with invincibility frames to weave through enemy fire. Each of the 5 playable characters has distinct abilities. Pocky uses Ofuda talismans, Rocky throws leaves, while newcomer Ame can freeze enemies. A charged attack lets you unleash powerful screen-clearing bombs when your meter is full. The levels are filled with environmental hazards, like falling rocks and water currents, alongside yokai enemies with unique attack patterns. 2-player local co-op lets a second player join as a helper character with reduced abilities. The game includes both a story mode with dialogue and an arcade mode that removes cutscenes for pure action. Multiple difficulty settings adjust enemy aggression and damage taken. The art style uses detailed sprite work with smooth animations and vibrant colors that pop on the Switch screen. Raiden 4X Mikado Remix brings the legendary vertical shooter series to Switch with enhancements specifically designed with input from the Mikado arcade in Japan. You pilot the Raiden fighter jet through 8 stages of intense alien warfare, blasting through waves of enemies and massive battleships. The weapon system lets you switch between Vulcan cannons, lasers, and plasma beams, each with different spread patterns and power levels gained through collecting items. The score attack focus rewards destroying enemies quickly, maintaining chains, and collecting medals at maximum value. This version includes multiple game modes, the original Raiden 4, an overkill mode with remixed enemy placements and new bosses, plus the exclusive Mikado Remix mode, created specifically for this release. You can save replays of your runs and study them to improve strategies and routing. There are several difficulty levels and scoring systems to choose from. The soundtrack can be toggled between original and arranged versions. Ships have different shot patterns and bomb types that dramatically change strategies. Wonder Boy Collection gathers 5 classic Wonder Boy arcade games, including Monsterland, Monster World, and the rare Monster Lair. These games blend platforming with action RPG elements as you control a young hero fighting through fantasy worlds filled with monsters and dragons. Monsterland introduces equipment systems where you buy swords, armor, and boots in shops between levels, with each piece affecting your stats and abilities. You've got a life meter that constantly drains, forcing you to collect hearts and food to survive, while managing your limited gold for upgrades. The games feature tight platforming with strategic combat, where learning enemy patterns is essential. Monster Lair adds a side-scrolling shooter segment between platforming sections. The collection includes both Japanese and international versions of each game, with different difficulty balances and content. There are quality-of-life features like save states, rewind, and adjustable lives that make these challenging arcade games more accessible. A gallery mode contains artwork, flyers, and historical information about each game's development. The emulation preserves the original pixel art and arcade timing. Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection celebrates 3 decades of the most influential fighting game series, with 12 titles spanning from the original Street Fighter through Third Strike. You're getting the complete evolution of competitive fighting games, including all versions of Street Fighter II that refine the formula, the Alpha series with custom combos and air blocking, and Street Fighter III with its revolutionary parry system. The core gameplay revolves around reading opponents, managing spacing, executing special moves through directional inputs plus buttons, and building meter for super moves. Each game maintains its original arcade balance, with all characters, stages, and mechanics intact. 4 games support online play, with ranked and casual matches using rollback netcode for Third Strike and the others using delay-based netcode. Training modes let you practice combos and setups with frame data displays and hitbox visualization. The collection includes a comprehensive museum with concept art, character designs, pitch documents, and a music player featuring hundreds of tracks. You can set display options for each game individually with various filters and screen borders. Local Versus supports tournament brackets. That's our top 20 best arcade games on Nintendo Switch. From classic compilations to modern arcade-style experiences, what's your favorite arcade game on Switch? Drop your picks in the comments below and let me know what arcade classics you're hoping to see brought to the system next. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo Switch content. Until next time!